Hey everybody, Russ Ornstein here. I'd like to share one of my favorite neck exercises. And while it is a neck exercise, it's not limited just to the neck in terms of what it's going to help. It's also great for your shoulders, and it's also great for stabilizing your spine. So even though this is a neck exercise, this is probably one of the most significant exercises I give my patients when they're suffering with low back pain that's due to an instability. So what that means is there's muscles that are holding joints together, and if those muscles aren't working well, the joints won't be held together well. This exercise is a really great way to help activate the muscles that give your spine strength. So a lot of people talk about core stability, which obviously is very important, but generally they're talking about the abdominal core. We also have to consider the muscles that are stabilizing our spine. So this is a very, very powerful way to activate those muscles. And it's something that we can all do every day. I do these every day, and I would certainly recommend that you do as well. Now, one of the things about doing neck exercises is if people have problems in their neck, you don't want to be pushing or pulling too much on the neck if there's some problem with that joint. However, most people can walk without having problems in their neck. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to be emulating a walking type of motion and activating the neck at the same time. So I'm going to show you the exercise, and then at the end I'll go into a little bit more detail about why this is so good for all these other different areas. Okay, so let me just get right to showing the exercise and how we do it. Now the first thing is when we're walking, what's happening is our shoulders are moving from side to side, but our head is staying relatively still. So as we're walking, our shoulders are moving, but in effect what's happening is as one shoulder comes forward, our head is actually turning to the side. So even though my head looks like it's still, when I turn my head this way, I can't really, if I turn my shoulders this way rather, I can't really turn my head much further that way, but I could turn it quite far in the opposite direction. And likewise, when I bring the other shoulder forward, my head's actually turned all the way to this side. I can't turn it much more, but I could turn it in the other direction. So by moving the shoulders, we can actually stimulate the neck and this neck motion, but at the same time, we're not doing any head motion, because if we were doing that same motion, just moving our head, we would probably get quite dizzy after a short period of time. So to try to avoid that, we're just simulating that motion of walking. As well, the way that our joints are moving is actually kind of an elliptical type of motion. So we're going to be simulating that as well by allowing the shoulders to come up and down as well. So if I bring my shoulder forward, it's actually very similar to me bringing my head over to the side a little bit, okay? If my head stays straight and my shoulder comes up, I can't bend my head much further that way, but I could bend it quite far that way. So the same sort of thing's happening when our shoulders are coming up and down as well. So what we're going to be doing is like a swimming exercise. Imagine that you're just swimming while you're standing up. So let me get to how you do this exercise. Very, very simple. Ideally, you'd be doing this standing up. I am standing here. If you can bend your knees just a little bit, when you're doing the exercise, you're just going to allow your hips to move just a little bit as well, which is going to be good for your hip joints. So what we're going to be doing is starting by reaching, putting out one hand next to your eye, and you're going to push that hand forward towards the spot directly in front of you. And then what you're going to do is let that arm drop down and then come up again, and then push that hand towards that spot. Now the reason I say I want you to bring your hand next to your eye is so that you can see where your finger is in relation to that spot. So if you're kind of not controlling your arm very well, it might sort of spiral. So I want you to try to get that motion as smooth as you can as it's coming forward. We're not just doing one side, we're going to be swimming with both arms. So what's happening is one arm comes forward as the other arm comes back. So we're swimming like this, okay? With knees slightly bent, okay? And your chest is up, and you're swimming like this. So hand comes next to the eye, okay? You press it forward. At the same time, the other arm's coming back, okay? And then you drop it down, okay? It's quite hard to do it very slowly, so you're going to have to find the rhythm and the pace that allows you to do that quite smoothly. So let me just show you what this looks like from the side. If I stand this way, when I'm reaching forward, it's like this. So you can see that one arm comes forward as the other arm comes back. This arm comes forward and this arm comes back. We're not doing simply this either. We're actually letting our elbow move in a big circle. So the elbows are moving in big circles like this, okay? And that elbow moving in the circles was actually allowing your shoulder to come up. So you really want to get that elbow up there. Big circles with the elbows and pressing forward. You want to find the speed that allows you to do this as smoothly as possible. You don't want to do it too fast. Ideally, you want to do it at a nice kind of slow pace. You're just counting off 1, 2, 3, 4. I quite like to do it to music because you can follow the beat of the music. But as you're counting it off, I'd like you to count to 100. Now, if you can't do 100 all in one go, then take a break in between, but then get back to it again and try to get to 100. Now, that's basically all that it is. Now, just keep watching this video and try to get that form just right. The key is, again, big circles with the elbow, the hand coming forward from the eye straight towards the spot. Let it drop, the arm drop down, and this one towards the spot, and then drop down. Your upper arm is almost moving like a train in a sense, you know, like the sort of sides of an old-fashioned train, and the elbows around in circles. Okay, so like that. The reason that we're doing it this way is we get a maximum stimulation of the shoulder and a nice big rotation in the neck without having to move the head. So we get kind of a big motion here. So we're getting a lot of stimulation in those joints, but at the same time, we're not creating any stress. Now, this should be something that's very comfortable for everyone. If you experience any discomfort, then just simply don't do it. Go and seek some professional help. But it is something that even, quite chronic neck problems, people with ongoing issues can usually do this quite comfortably. So it's a great way to stimulate the joints, but without causing any stress in the joints. Now, one of the reasons why it's so powerful is that the joints in the neck have a huge number of receptors in them. In other words, there's lots of little sensors that sense that motion of the joints in your neck moving. Plus, there's also muscles, layers of muscles all around the joints in your neck. And each one of those muscles has its own sensor. So, and there's a tremendous number of sensors in the neck, as are the joints in your shoulders and the muscles around your shoulders. So what we're effectively getting at here is a tremendous amount of stimulation, really in your whole spine that is moving here, but particularly in your neck, you're getting a lot of motion. And because there's so many receptors there, your body, you're really flooding your brain with a tremendous amount of stimulation. So it's going to feel very, very good. But particularly the area of the brain, or really the brainstem that this information goes into, has a very big role in controlling a lot of other functions. So, and one of those functions, without going into too much detail, you can watch my other videos if you want on this. But one of the things that is most important in relation to what we're talking about today is how it activates the muscles that stabilize your spine. So when these sensors in your neck and shoulders get very activated, it's going to stimulate the part of your brain stem, okay, and the control mechanism that turns on the deep stabilizing muscles. And that's what you want. You want those muscles to be activated. It doesn't mean that your joints are going to be tight. It's just going to keep them stable so that they can move without coming and moving in a way they're not supposed to be moving. So this is a very, very powerful way to do that. But it's not only affecting the muscles, stabilizing muscles in your neck, but your entire spine. So it's a great thing for activating the stabilizing muscles, even in the lumbar spine. If I have someone who has a very weak lumbar spine, I'll have them doing this before I even touch their back. And very often just doing these exercises has a very big impact on the stability they feel in their spine. And it takes some very big steps forward towards their rehabilitation. So this is just a little treat for you guys. I hope that that's something that you like. Certainly try it out, drop me some comments. And if there's any more areas you'd like to focus on, just let me know. I'm certainly happy to put up more exercises. And thanks for watching. Enjoy.